My name is Easy, and welcome back to another episode of Easy Does It, where we review and react to YouTube channels and sometimes give daily vlogs. Now, this week we're going to take a look at a channel called The Scary Cherry. Now, I've seen this channel pop up in my recommendations quite often. I've never watched it. I can tell you right now that I took a look at some of the titles of his videos, and they are basically like odd, weird, strange fact channel. It's, you know, that type of fact channel list, kind of like Be Amazed, Mind Warehouse, Brain Time, you know, a generic Ripley's Believe It or Not kind of thing. Now, he has about 163 million views. He's been around since 2017, and he's got about 726,000 subscribers. So he's doing okay. Not too bad, not too shabby. We are going to take a look at one of his latest videos called Disturbing Kids Toys That Got Banned. I've seen a few other channels do something similar about certain toys. I'm just kind of curious to see if he lists some of them same toys. Anyways, let's check out The Scary Cherry.
Toys are supposed to be innocent and fun. That's kind of the whole point. But you know as well as I do that things sometimes go seriously wrong. Almost hilariously so. Did you know that some toys were so disturbing that you're no longer allowed to get them? Just how creepy can a child's toy be? Well, you're about to find out. Chucky has nothing on these horrors. These are 20 disturbing kid toys that got banned. Number 20.
Whenever I saw his name, I first thought he was
the Cabbage Patch Kids are easily one of the most iconic
like
children's toys of all time. They're simple yet
slapped him in Nuke's Top 5. I thought he was a,
over the world, and they were also a bestseller,
you know, like a ghost video or paranormal video list channel, but
as you may have guessed, not
obviously not.
That
He's
they
a
did
fact
was a winner.
channel list.
Specifically, we'll rewind back to 1996.
I remember the Cabbage Patch dolls. I also remember the Garbage Pail Kids, which was kind of a parody off of them, which sold even more than the Cabbage Patch dolls.
In and of itself is not really that big of an issue, right? It's even kind of adorable when you think about the kid feeding the doll. But here's the problem. The doll came with a motorized mouth, and it didn't have an off switch. As such, young girls were playing with the doll.
Yeah.
They would sometimes stick their fingers into the moving mouth and get bit.
Yeah, I didn't get no way to turn it off, huh?
Or even worse, their hair would somehow get caught in the mouth and get stuck, leaving the doll literally clinging to the young child and effectively eating its head. Mattel claimed that they could not replicate this and that the doll went through rigorous testing to make sure that it was safe, but clearly they did not go far enough, as there were actually multiple incidents within just the first few days of its release. The only way for the parents to stop the mouth from moving was to remove the batteries that were in the doll's back. So yes, they clearly did not do enough to childproof this doll. But then again, you never know what a child's going to do outside of a testing laboratory once they get a toy. Before we go on,
I like them Garbage Pail Kids. They
button and click the notification bell.
They had like all these trading cards for them too.
On your face when you're sleeping. Number 19.
I hate that stupid shit.
Baby doll.
Where they do that.
Going to a toy that was made long
I'll shoot this kitten if you don't subscribe kind of crap. It's so dumb.
Lessons back then. In the 19th century, there were many beliefs about the world and the people that were both weird, offensive, and not so intelligent. Case in point, many people believe that crawling was actually an unnatural thing. No, really. Crawling was considered to be unnatural and unfit for a sane human being and was thought to be a morally suspicious act attributed to insanity and animal life. It would later be in the mid-19th century that crawling became accepted and normalized as a natural stage of development. I'm glad that it worked out eventually, even if it did lead to the
babies have been crawling since the
thing.
beginning of
doll that you're
time, so
looking
that's
at
just
was
kind
made
of dumb.
in the year 1871 and was meant to help children to learn how to crawl to help along with their development. A positive thing? Well, absolutely. But does the doll look creepy as heck? You better believe it. The head, legs, and hands were all made out of plaster, but the rest of the body
That
was
does look
mechanical,
pretty
and that
creepy.
helped to ensure that the movement of the crawl was accurate to what a baby might do. While that's rather forward-thinking, it also raises the problem of how it's really freaking ugly to look at. As such, the doll was basically banned because no child wanted to be near it. And you know that when even children
I
are
don't
scared
blame
of
a
a
kid.
toy like this, that's a big
That's-
problem. One of the ironies
Looks like
here
something
is
from
that
out of
eventually
whatever
there
that
were more visually
the Toy
pleasing
Story
toys that
thing
did have the ability
movie,
to crawl, and children
where
naturally
the
took
little
to
boy
those.
was
Now, I'm not saying that this creepy
taking them
baby
apart
doll
and
was a
doing all
bad
kinds of
idea,
weird
but it
stuff, putting them
definitely
together.
did not have the right
Just,
visuals or execution.
yeah, it's a little
Number
weird.
18, Boobas. Look,
Boobas?
I know that children's television is going to be weird sometimes, especially when it's for younger kids who can't fully understand exactly what they're seeing. That's why you have shows that feature weirdly shaped creatures as the main characters, or even shows that are based solely on song
What
and
the-
dance in order to get kids excited. But
Is
there
that
has
supposed to be
a
the
line,
Boobas?
and one of those lines is
Oh,
the
I guess
Boobas.
so.
The show would first be aired on the BBC and was made by the people who did the Teletubbies.
Oh,
The show
okay,
had some
now it all
really
makes
weird
sense.
creature designs. Anyways, the show tried to capture some of that magic, but when you look at how the Boobas appeared, you can see why they weren't exactly a big hit. It's hard to describe what they look like for starters.
yeah.
And then when you see their toys, you just wonder why anyone would give them to a child. Now, some may say that
I'm
this
gonna
is
say right
great
now,
because it's so different, that it's unique, or
our
that
English
because it got a
cousins,
really furry body that young
the
kids would
UK,
like,
are
despite the
pretty
fact that they have
strange
no
when it
idea
comes
what
to
it was.
television
While that may
shows
be
and
true,
crap.
let's have a heart for the
They
children.
copy
They
a
should be
lot
able
of
to
our
love and cherish
stuff,
all of their
and
toys,
but
no
we
matter
do the
what,
same
but not
thing,
look at
vice
them and
versa.
wonder
We
why the
copy
heck
a lot
that
of
they
their
have it in the
television
first
shows,
place. When you look
but
at the
ours always
Boobas,
become a
you're going to
success.
eventually think,
Why
why do I
theirs
have
usually
this in
dud
my
out.
possession?
I
Also,
mean, you do
how many
have a
of you have
couple of them,
actually
like
heard of the Boobas before
you know, the
coming to
Doctor
this video?
Who and
That just
you
goes
know
to show that
stuff
the
like
show
that.
wasn't the
Every
best
once in a while,
when
they'll
you
have a
did the
show
toys.
that
And it
is
just
pretty
makes you wonder
successful,
how much
but
farther the
most of the
children's
time
show
their
will
shows are
fall
just
if
really
someone thought that
strange,
this was a
and they
good
have the
idea in the
weirdest
first
sense of
place.
humor. It's
Number
very
17.
dry.
My
That's
Cleaning
why
Trolley.
American shows do 10
What
times
does it
better.
take to make a truly bad children's toy? Is it simply that it looks ugly and no one wants to buy it
No
as a
offense
result?
to
Is it that the function
our
doesn't
English
really
cousins,
feel
but-
fulfilling, which is what toys are supposed to be about? Or is it that someone had a great idea, it got approved somehow, and the toy was what was released, and it was so offensive that heads should have rolled? For that last one, allow me to introduce you to the My Cleaning Trolley. It's a pink trolley that is only for girls, that is meant to make them cleaning ladies. You know, the women who come to your home and other areas and clean everything up after the owners. Well, yeah, it's that kind of role. This toy was meant to get girls ready for such a job. Oh, I wonder what could be so offensive about that.
Yeah, what's
Well,
so
first off,
offensive
there are
about
plenty
that?
of men who do have similar roles in the world, and so labeling this as being just for girls is offensive because that states that only women and girls are good at cleaning, or that it's their role in life to be the cleaners of a household. And we have long since evolved past that point, thank you very much. Secondly,
Yeah.
why would a kid even want this kind of toy? What child
That's
goes
just
around
dumb.
saying, I need a trolley so I can clean my house?
There's nothing
Now, sure,
offensive about
maybe
that.
someone out there wants it to be like mom and dad and try to clean up
Nothing.
the place, but that's a fact.
The only people who
that's going
take
to quickly
offense
change.
against
Unless
that
you think we're
are
the
those
only
who
ones think that
are,
this toy
you
was
know,
outrageous,
feminists.
You would be wrong. Many people actually
And everything
express
about
their
feminism
outrage
is
and
absolutely
displeasure with the
incorrect.
messages that
It's a
this
big
was
lie.
sending, and it's much harder
And
to
women
get
have
this
been
toy
sold on
anywhere
it. That's
now.
been proven time and
Number
time
16.
again.
Yumi
So
doll that
that's
cries.
just dumb. And him
Before
saying
you
that's
go
just
blowing
as
a
dumb.
gasket,
He's
we know
offensive
that
for
there
saying
are
it.
various dolls out there that simulate things like crying or whining and all of that sort of thing. It's a very interesting thing for them to do, and it's something that children can relate to. Plus, if a baby doll is crying, the child will, hopefully, want to take care of it immediately so that it stops. Not
Yeah,
unlike a mother with a
I can
child.
see lots of
However,
problems
in
with
Japan,
that one.
they made a Yumi doll that actually cries when you inject
Yeah, I
it.
didn't.
That's right.
What the?
I said inject it. It's definitely one of the more weird things that you're going to
That's
see on
dumb.
this list. And I'm not lying about that injection part. You actually
I
have
mean-
to inject the doll, and then it will cry.
If
Why
you
do they
find
feel the need
some
to
of the
be that
stuff
complicated with
offensive
the entire process?
just because
Well,
it's
nobody
oriented
really
towards
knows, but
girls or
it's definitely a
something,
choice that they made,
you're
and
the
it's not
problem,
hard to
not
see
the-
why so many were
not the
fine with
kids.
not buying the doll. We'll begin with the obvious point.
You're
Who would
being
want to
toxic.
inject a doll with anything?
I
It doesn't
can't
matter
stand
what it
toxic
is.
people
Who would want
who
the
blame
ability to
others
inject a
for
doll
their
with something?
toxic
And why would you make a doll
toxicity.
that cries after being injected
It's
by
dumb.
its owner? Yes, it does technically replicate what we sometimes have to endure when we're injected with something at the doctor, but this is a children's toy.
Yeah,
Not
that's-
everything has to be accurate to real life. Equally as important is having an extra thing like an injector. Means that the child now has something that they can hurt themselves with. They might not even
Yeah,
know
it's
how
a
to
little-
use it,
little
and that
much
could cause a
there.
whole lot of problem. While realism and replicating things they'll see can be a worthy reasoning to make a toy, that doesn't mean that you should always do it, especially if this is the result.
Besides, I
Number
guarantee you that
15.
they made all
Oreo
kinds of
Barbie.
messes.
Well, we
With
can
water,
very
you know.
easily see what the problem with this Barbie is, because I've already shown you, Barbie is not immune to having really bad ideas placed upon her. And this is absolutely one of those. Now, I will admit, this was not a recent issue. It's actually one from over 25 years ago. Oreo Barbie would be released in 1997, and at that time, Mattel was busy making deals with Nabisco in order to create a fun-loving Barbie who loved to eat Oreo cookies with her friends. She dressed in Oreo colors, which were blue and white, and even carried an Oreo purse, presumably full of cookies. Mattel would release a white Oreo Barbie first, who, for obvious reasons, debuted without any problems. But when the black Oreo Barbie was released, it caused quite the stir.
I'm sure it
especially in
did.
America with the African American community. Why would that happen? Well, that's because while Oreo is the name for a delicious snack that most people can eat and enjoy, for the African American community, it means quite something different. Oreo is actually a derogatory term hurled at black people who are accused of acting white. Like an Oreo, they're supposedly
That's
black
not
on the
it,
outside
you
and
idiot.
white on the inside.
He's
You can
wrong.
think of it as a 20th
I can tell you right
century
now,
version of calling something
Oreo is
So yeah,
a
that was a big faux pas, but there's a small
it was a
bright
way
spot
of
it.
describing
When Mattel
people
realized
who
what they had
are
done,
mixed
which most
gender,
agree was inadvertent,
who are
they
mixed,
then
black and
immediately
white.
recalled all
He's
of the Oreo
incorrect.
Barbies, and
That's
now
not
it's viewed
what
as
it
a
meant
collector's item
at all.
because there are so few remaining in the world. The
Black
real moral
people
of the
get
story
offended
here
about
is that if you're
everything.
doing
It's
business
just the way it
and want
is.
to plug a product, make sure that you call it something
Or
that
white
many would
liberals.
not see as offensive. Number 14.
I mean, I get why they don't
The
want
Super
it
Soaker
because
Ooze-Name.
Oreo
For
was
many of
used
you out
as
there,
a-
the Super Soaker was not only
a way to
toy, it was a key
describe,
part of your childhood
uh,
and self-defense.
you know, a black
These
and
at one
white
time
mixed
dominated the
gender
market because
child
there were few things
or
that
kid
a young
or
child
person,
loved
whatever.
to do more on a hot day than to get their Super Soaker out and cool off while having fun blasting one another. It also helps that there was such a wide variety of these Super Soakers that you could have all sorts of
But to
unique
get
battles
offended over it
depending on what
when you
have
know
in your
for a
arsenal.
fact
However,
that it
as you
has to
expect,
do with the
not
fucking
every
cookie.
idea that came out of the
It's
Super
just
Soaker
dumb.
camp was a surefire winner. In this case, I'm
But
speaking
whatever.
of the Super
Again,
Soaker
racist
Oozenator.
people
If you're curious,
will
the big
always hear
difference
racist
between the
crap and
Oozenator
shit.
and the
I don't
regular
care what
Super
it is.
Soaker was
They'll
what was
automatically
shot
take
out.
offense to it.
Instead of firing water
You know,
at your
because
foes,
they're the
it would
ones who are
squirt out
thinking
a white,
racism.
gooey substance at you. That
So
is
they're the ones
not
being
exactly
racist.
the best visual, and if you've seen the commercial for it, they clearly don't realize the situation that they created for themselves. themselves. Now, I will give these Super Soakers some credit. They framed it as though you were being oozed by an alien based on the Soaker's design. But when you really think about it, they should have seen what this would actually look like. Plus, ooze definitely is not something that you can easily get out of clothing and your hair, so an A for effort, but a D for execution.
Yeah,
Number
it probably
13,
wouldn't have been too good of
the
a
Face
toy.
Bank. One of
To
the
be
things
honest.
that you're supposed to teach your children
Sorry
at a young age
for
is
the
the
little
art of
rant.
saving
I'm
your
just-
money and finances.
I'm so sick of
Naturally,
that
children
crap.
don't have a whole lot of money when they're
Racist
under the
people
age of 5 or when they're even a little
claiming
older.
racist,
But the
and
point
when
that
they're
I'm
the
trying
ones
to
being
make is
racist.
that
I
the
hate
piggy
that
bank
shit.
is one of the most important things
I've
that you
seen
can get
this
a young
before,
child, and it's easy
little
to
piggy
inspire
bank
them
thing.
to use it. But naturally,
It's
many have
weird.
come forward
It's
with
really
ideas on
weird
how to make the
looking.
piggy bank more fun
That's
for
weird
kids.
looking.
Usually
That doesn't
it means
look
something
fun at
like
all.
a nice
That looks
visual or even
freaky.
an interactive element to it.
As a kid, I wouldn't have wanted it. I wouldn't have wanted anything
Sadly,
to do
though,
with it.
that's where the not one but two versions of the face bank come into play. As the name would suggest, this is a piggy bank that's shaped like a face. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the look of the bank. It's a face. But the creepy part is that the face moves as you give it a coin. If you look at it, it takes the coin as if it's eating it, and you'll notice how it's watching you with those beady little eyes that just makes you wonder what it's thinking. I'm getting creeped out by it if you can't tell. And the fact that they made two different versions
I
of
think
the
they
thing,
have problems,
I mean, why?
like the
Why
Cabbage
would you do that?
Patch
What do you have
Dolls,
against children that
where they
would
couldn't
lead
get
you
it
to
to
make
stop
such a
eating,
creepy kind of piggy bank? Parents,
like
if you're
the
watching this
finger or
and you
some
need
crap
to get
like
your
that
children a
too.
piggy
I don't
bank,
remember.
just go the basic route and tell them to take care of it. I promise you, it's going to work. Number 12. Pregnant Barbie.
I remember that one.
If you wanted to talk about a definitive
Pregnant
girl
Barbie?
toy throughout history, that would be Barbie. Barbie, in many ways, is the peak of what toys can be. It's a simple toy of a woman that can be dressed up and accessorized, have all kinds of add-ons and cars and houses and playmates and even a boyfriend who actually sticks around. And you can keep making them ad
Mattel,
nauseum
for
so that
their
you can
Barbie
make
dolls,
lots and
have
lots and
always
lots of
come up
cash.
with weird
That's exactly
ideas
what Barbie has done over
for
the
the
years,
Barbie
and she's
stuff.
even gotten a live-action movie starring Margot
Yeah,
Robbie.
which was
But that doesn't mean
obviously
that all of Barbie's
god-awful.
designs have been winners. Oh, far from
Ah.
it. In 2018, a new model of Barbie would go out on the shelves, known as Pregnant Barbie. On the surface, that seems like a great idea. I mean, it could be used to teach and show that Barbie is willing to be a mother and such. But when the version actually hit the stores and parents saw how she was pregnant, well, the pictures speak volumes for themselves. They literally just opened her up, put a baby in there, and then you're supposed to undress her to get the baby out and remove the baby bump. And so you can see why parents were not
Yeah.
exactly thrilled about it all. First off, it's creepy as all get out.
Not-
and
not a
second, the
great
fact that
deal.
the children have to undress Barbie to get the baby out does
That
not
Barbie
really send
movie,
the best message.
it was
And there
full of
had to be better
propaganda.
ways to show off a pregnancy than
It was
this. Talk
basically
about
a
sending the
feminist
wrong
hate
idea
men
about how
movie.
babies are born.
It was
So
terrible.
Yes, it may not
God
be
awful.
Mattel's best work, and
Lied
some
out
could
their
even
ass.
argue that some children might
Instead of
ask
making
about
it a
where
kids
babies
movie,
come
they
from
had to do a
little bit
political
too
thing
soon
with
thanks
it.
to the doll.
Go
And
fuck
who
your
really
figure.
wants to have that awkward conversation with a young child? No. Magic Monkey. Do you remember Toy Story 3? Because
Everybody
if you do, then
remembers
you'll
the
know exactly
Magic
what
Monkey.
toy I'm about to talk about. In the children's playrooms, there were toys that were desperately trying to get out because the kids were too rough with them as they played. But they never made it because of a monkey that watched over the room and alerted the good toys if someone was trying to escape. That monkey was the Magic Monkey. And yes, it is a real thing. And it's also the toxic fuel for all of your nightmares. Seriously, who in the world thought that this was a good idea? This is the stuff that haunts children for all of their
yeah, it
lives,
was
and
creepy.
it clearly affected the team at Pixar as they were willing to put this monstrosity into their film as a villain. Nothing about the monkey is right, and it's a hard design to get right when you're trying to make a good toy. You just need to make a cute monkey that can play the cymbals when you activate it. And yet, they went for the most creepy thing possible that eventually became a meme
The
that
red
we can't
eyes,
get out
yeah,
of our
it's
heads
just
because
creepy.
it simply feels too accurate.
So I get it.
Number 10.
Number 10, huh?
Baby Laugh-A-Lot.
I've heard
When
of
it
this
comes to
one
making
too.
dolls, a
I've
very
seen
easy
this on
thing for toy
previous
makers to
videos
do is to
from
make
other
one that
channels.
can replicate a certain thing
Yeah,
or
it
to
was
say
kind
a
of
certain
creepy
thing
too.
in order to make a child feel
This is
at
an
ease.
old
But with
ass
Baby
toy
Laugh a
too.
Lot, they did not exactly do that in the right way. Making a doll that laughs, well, that is totally reasonable, completely understandable, and it could work really well. However, if you watch the infinitely creepy commercial, you're going to listen to how the doll laughs, and your life will never be the same. It is the laughter that the devil might make. No, really, I'm sure that laugh is something that you may hear as you descend into the underworld. This is the kind of laughter that makes people actually fear dolls. So yes, we want no part of this doll.
It was
and I hope
creepy.
that nothing
The
like
way
this
it looks
ever
is
gets made
creepy.
again. That commercial is really
The
creepy
laugh
from
was just,
basically start to finish. I mean, what
It's
heck
the
were
way
they
the
even
doll
thinking?
looked.
Number 9.
Wasn't the laugh.
The Jibba Jabber. The next one was banned for an entirely legitimate reason, and we really want to know who thought that it was a good idea. To put it simply, the Jibba Jabber was a toy that was meant to be
I
played
kind of
with
think
by
I remember
shaking
that.
it. It
I
doesn't
don't
sound so
remember.
bad at
I
first,
can't.
except that the way
It
you
looks
shook
familiar.
it was by violently shaking its neck back and forth like the thing owed you money. It's not exactly the playful experience that you would want your kids to interact with, and things would only get more weird when the toy maker labeled the thing as a stress reliever and even put a label on it stating why you shouldn't do this act with your babies.
Yeah,
That's right. People
go
realized
ahead.
that the toy was basically a substitute
Just
for
shaking a kid, a
babies,
little
which
kid
can be
is-
fatal, and they threw a fit about it, and rightfully so.
Yeah. Shaking a
Number
little
8.
kid. That's not just
Breast
wrong.
milk baby.
Breast milk
Yeah,
baby,
you
huh?
probably thought I was done with the weird things that some of these dolls can do, but you would be wrong. Back when Bill O'Reilly was part of Fox News, he would come across a doll that was so disturbing in his mind that he had to rant about it on the air. The doll in question was the breast milk baby. If you're getting a picture of a doll that mimics the act of breastfeeding, well, you would be right. That's exactly what it was. It would make a sucking sound when put against certain parts of a young girl that was holding it. Bill O'Reilly didn't exactly
That's
like
a little
that,
bit much.
and neither did a lot of other parents. In their minds, it was wrong that a child would want to know about breastfeeding or even want to do it with their baby. Whether you agree with this is irrelevant because the doll would be pulled from the shelves and they couldn't find a way
They're a
to
little
get it
too
back.
young to be learning that
Number 7.
at that
Skinny
age.
Bones. For this next toy, we go
Nothing
retro
wrong with
to the
breastfeeding.
1970s.
It's actually
As many
better
people
for
have
the
said,
baby.
Someone must have been really
But
high to make a
that's
toy
a little
like this.
young to be-
The Skinny Bones was a
Yeah,
toy
I've
that
seen
kids
this one on
literally would put together
other
themselves
channels,
in order
too.
to make a life-size toy that was basically
It's-
nothing but appendages and
Yeah,
bones.
it's
This is
really
the bare
weird.
minimum that you could do to say that
It's
you've
kinda
made a doll
freaky.
toy. I mean, what in the
I'm
world?
not gonna lie.
It's not really difficult to see why this is nightmare fuel to
Yeah,
some,
it's
and
creepy.
it's just a lazy design overall. I mean, did someone have some fun with some sticks one day and say, "Oh, I bet I can make a toy out of this"? Well, they did, and it lives on in painful memories as a result. Number 6. Play-Doh extruder. Now you may be thinking,
Play-Doh!
how in the world could a person possibly
Everybody
screw up
remembers Play-Doh.
I mean, it's Play-Doh, and to be perfectly clear, the Play-Doh itself is fine. Hasbro did not screw that up in any kind of way. However, when it came to some of the accessories that you could get and use with the Play-Doh, you have one issue with a certain extruder. To put it simply, it was a device as part of a Cake Mountain playset and was meant to help you dish out the icing in order to decorate the cake. Which on the surface level probably sounds great to many. But if you take a look at the extruder, you can tell me what you think you see. If you're like several parents, you see a certain reproductive organ, and they were not too happy with that at all. And when that's
Oh
the
my
complaint that
gosh.
people are giving, you just have to wonder who
I
designed
mean,
it,
yes.
how it was approved without someone saying, "Hey,
It looks
doesn't that
similar,
look like
but
a-"
seriously,
Number 5.
some
Pole
people
dancer
just...
doll.
come
Do
up
I
with
really
shit
have to
like the
explain why
Oreo
this
thing.
particular toy was banned?
Just out of nothing.
Seriously, it's called the pole
Sometimes.
dance doll, and it does exactly what you think
What
that
the
it does.
fuck?
It's a young doll that swings around on a pole. There's very little
Are
leeway
you
that
fucking
you can get
kidding
something
me?
like this, and yet they went full tilt with it. As you may imagine, when parents saw this toy advertised online, they were not at all happy in the slightest.
Yeah.
Because this is a children's toy that is depicting a very adult profession.
Yeah,
And
that's
the
not-
children would not know that
that's
because
not for
all they'll see
kids.
is a dancing doll. Now, yes, there
I'm
are
sorry.
ways to do pole dancing to be more about exercise, and it can be a cool thing, but that's not the image that people first think about with this toy.
Yeah.
So you can understand why it
Yeah.
was banned.
Pole
in the first
dance is
place.
tainted forever.
Number
You
4.
can't. It's a sex.
Little Miss No Name. Without a doubt,
Sex
one
work
of the things that
crap.
drives toy makers is the seasons of the year. They will often try to make a doll.
These
or a toy
dolls
that is
are
perfect for
creepy.
that season, so that children
Straight
and parents
up
will get it
creepy.
when it's in fashion, and then maybe get it again the following year.
You-
Halloween is
you
not
don't
really a
give
season
these
that you
kids-
necessarily
dolls to
associate with
kids.
dolls, but make no mistake, there are always Halloween-themed toys during the month of October, and some of them come out looking like Little Miss No Name.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it is
not-
a real doll that was actually advertised for children, and it looks like a
It's
young
kinda
homeless
effed
girl
up.
who is about to die at any moment.
Yeah,
Someone,
it's
though, thought
crazy.
that it was a good idea, and they were very wrong about that, and people were very creeped out in the end.
Yep. Creepy.
Number 3. Growing Up Skipper.
I mean,
Here's
Halloween
another
themed
Barbie failure, but there
stuff
was a
for
twist
kids
in
is
this one,
fine,
that
but
it was
not when it's
actually
that
Barbie who
creepy.
failed her, but her little sister Skipper.
little too much.
Skipper was a big addition to the Barbie family back in 1964, but just a
See,
decade later,
Barbie
the
always
people at
comes up
Mattel
with-
felt
or
that
Ma-
it was the
Mattel
right
always
time
comes
to
up with
make
some
Skipper
weird
grow
shit.
up. Why? Nobody has any idea, but the idea that they came up with to showcase Skipper's new age was something else altogether. The Growing Up Skipper doll worked as follows. When you bought it, Skipper would be in her child form. But then, when you rotated her arms to age her up,
What
she got taller
the-
and then got a bigger chest. I wonder how suggestive that is.
Yeah.
Fans were outraged at what their children could do with the doll, and so they stopped making it, but others did not, which included having one in 2007
What
that
the
was
hell?
equally as bad, if
That's
not
so
even
wrong.
worse. Number 2. Avenging Unicorn / Narwhal. Now, I will
Okay.
admit that this was a toy that technically was not for children, but you can see why some people were not happy with the toy being made at all. The Avenging Unicorn Narwhal toys are ones that would let you partake in the fun of having a unicorn or a narwhal, and then letting you impale people with their horns. Yeah, really, that's what these toys were made for. They were for impaling people and
that's just
displaying their
dumb.
kill proudly for everyone to see. What's wrong with people in this world? I mean, that would
It's
really
just
take
dumb.
too long to answer, so we
Why
will
would you
simply
make a
move
toy
on.
like that? That's just,
1. You can
Ah.
shave the baby.
it's just
Wow.
dumb.
I mean, just wow. I didn't even know what to expect from the final entry, but a doll that allows you to shave it in some rather creepy way, that's definitely a choice. But it does get better. The person who made this doll was apparently trying to do a social commentary on matters of the world, which is not the worst thing in the world, but did you really have to do it with a children's toy? Also, just imagine the mess that parents would have to deal with from the kids shaving this doll all over. It ends up being a creepy and weird doll, and it's one that no children should ever have to
Why
play
is the
with.
hair red?
And that's all from the realm of toys that were so
Yeah, I don't
weird,
get that
gross,
one. Yeah, that's
creepy, and
just
so
dumb,
on,
too.
that they ended up being banned.
Dumb,
Are you shocked
dumb.
by some of these that were actually made for children? And which ones do you actually remember seeing in stores or playing with before they were banned? Let me know all about it in the comments section down below. Check out the other cool things that are showing up on the screen, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah. Okay, so the channel's okay. It's alright. He got a couple of things wrong on there. He was incorrect about. And all you have to do is do the research. Bro, do the research. And get it right next time. It's not that hard. Anyways, he's okay. Wasn't horrible, wasn't bad or anything. It was fine. Like I said, he just made a couple mistakes. Everyone does it. check him out if you want. Another Factless channel. If you like that kind of stuff, there's a ton of them that do that kind of thing. You know, the Factless stuff. Anyways, like I said, check it out. Check them out if you want. The Scary Cherry. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.